Hey, welcome back to another exciting and long overdue episode of Chaotic Pubcast. Today it's just me and Zach. What's up, Zach?
What's up, Ryan? How you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good, man. We were originally gonna just keep pushing forward with some underground content, and we were like, you know what? It's time to nerd out a little bit and like get back to our roots and talk something that's very near and dear to our heart, which is, of course, Star Wars.
Dun, 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 dun.
so much cool fucking Star Wars news lately. While we're besides Jedi Survivor that just came out, we've kind of been in like a little bit of a lull of Star Wars content. You've been playing Survivor, right?
Yeah. I finally was able to like pick it up and boot it up. I'm going through a little bit of a turbulent lifestyle change right now, which I won't get into. But so I've been focused on that and just getting everything in order. And then I finally picked it up and finally got some game time with it. And I had like 2 good sessions, and I'm loving it so far. I think I'm about like I'm only like roughly like 35% of the guy. I just got the crossguard lifesaver, so of where I'm at.
I saw your TikTok you sent to me earlier that was like adult gamers. It's like, you should have seen me 5 years ago.
5 years ago, I want a flamethrower in this place. Seriously, because I don't have any time. Like but I'm stoked because with this lifestyle change, like I'm gonna have more time to like play games, talk nerdy shit, focus on the podcast. You know, I'm excited for what the future holds for us. So I apologize for the content lull that we had.
Unfortunately for me, man, I not that I've had a lot of free time, but I've made not free time into free time that I probably shouldn't have. And I've just been like binging through stuff, man. Like I knew Tears of the Kingdom was coming out like a week after Jedi Survivor. So I literally like no life that game, put like 80 hours in a week and 100% it in a week.
I would check Discord and every day. Like even on I don't know, well, we can cut this out if you want. I don't know how many of your employers listen to the podcast, but even when you probably shouldn't have been playing it.
Well, you know, and I'd keep it up at like the main menu if I was like working on stuff, so it always showed I was like playing it around the clock anyway.
I've gotten in trouble for that before, like or not in trouble but shit for it. Like I have a tendency to leave World of Warcraft open for days at a time.
Same.
And so like my friend who I work with, who is in one of my Discords, would always give me shit for it. He's like, oh, playing WoW. I'm like, no, I swear to God, I have 2 computers and that computer is currently connected to Discord. Yeah.
Have you gotten very far in Survivor? I'm not going to get into spoilers regardless if you have or haven't.
Yeah, I'm a bit past the part where you get the crossguard lightsaber.
Okay,
and I've completely forsaken the double edge, the double bladed. I play almost exclusively with the blaster stance.
So when I got it, I did for quite a while, and then I realized like I wasn't using the blaster as much as I should, and I went back to dual blades just because it did more damage with the blades.
Yeah, see, I like comboing. I kind of almost like this gun kata aspect that he does with it, you know. And I don't know if you've ever seen that movie Equilibrium with Christian Bale and Sean Bean in it. I was getting just the way that style combat I like better than the Matrix almost.
Yeah.
And so like when he's doing like gun kata stuff, I was like, oh, I'm never leaving this stance ever, because I do use the blaster, Ryan.
Yeah.
I'm not a Jedi purist.
It's super cool. I like how he's like, no, I'm a Jedi, and he's like, come on, bro.
Like, I love that. What's his name? Bode. I think his name is Bode. Yeah. Bode is like, he's just like, bruh.
You need everything you can get right now. I will say, I love Fallen Order. I 100% that game as well. And I'm like you've known me for a long time. Like up until like there's only certain games I'll take the time to even beat, much less 100%. And both of them are ones that I would consider in that category. It's just like a cinematic experience. Like that's what I first loved about like the Uncharted games and stuff like that. Like I felt like I was just like playing a movie, right? A very long-winded movie where half of it they just look for collectibles.
Yeah. There's like, I don't know, like, because I always like kind of shit on that collectible game, you know, a little bit, but I'll tell you, especially now in my advancing, now that I'm going to be on the wrong side of 30 in the week, or the wrong side of 35, I guess, in the middle next week. It's actually kind of relaxing to just run around and collect shit, you know?
It is.
And yeah. Like, I don't know, like, I always, like, as a young, edgy gamer, I'm like, oh, and me being like, developers, get this crap out of here, you know, kind of bullshit. But now I'm just kind of like, nah, man, I'll go gather collectibles all day.
The one thing I'll tell you about that game, once again, spoiler free, is there's a lot of stuff that's not required in that game that if you take the time to do it, it rewards you very well. The main one I'll tell you, make sure you do, is all the bounties. That the girl gives you, and finish like that little side quest line.
Are you talking about the girl who wants you to kill all the bounty hunters?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I barely got to her. Like, before we booted up, I was actually playing, and I just barely got to her. Yeah. And so I'm on that part where you use the shaft, like you have to aim the beams, and that's the quest I'm on currently. And when you said, "Hey, I'm here ready to record," I was like, "Damn it!" And I locked. So
you end up getting a surprise cameo that I never would have expected in this game. That just like amazing. But anyway,
what? Well, fuck. All right. Sorry, guys, we're cutting this short. I need to get back to survival. Am I almost to it?
No. I mean, I did it after I beat the game.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I guess you could just go around and do all the bounty hunters and stuff. So that being said, phenomenal game. I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. I think whenever in our little friend group where we rate stuff, but my only drawbacks was just like there's a little bit of clunkiness on some things, but the story overall was great. You'll see once you beat it, you're gonna be like, where does this go? Like,
you know, you're not the only person that said that to me about the ending. I like, again, the ending, nothing about the games. I've actually been really good about not spoiling Tears of Kingdom. Like, I entered a call with you guys last night, and and Jay was on the ending of it, and I'm like, wait, are you guys at the ending? And you're talking about it, and you're like, yeah, gotta go, and I just instantly exited.
Yeah, he was like, I'm about to fight Ganondorf. You want to watch? And I was like, I beat him like 2 days ago, so yeah, I want to watch it again.
Didn't it take you like 20 tries and then he one shot him?
Yeah, no, when I was doing it, I told Ernie, because Ernie was watching me, I was like, yeah, this is taking me way longer than it should. I'm just not good at these games. And I was like, once Jay gets here, he'll do it in one shot. And yeah, sure enough, he did it on his first shot.
Yeah, but Jay is like really good at video games. Like, that's one thing that Jay, like, I feel like really, really shines in. It's just like, he's just good at everything he picks up. And, you know, good for you, Jay.
I'm just resilient. I'm just persistent.
Yeah. See, like I'm a total stoner.
I'll fail 100 times. I don't care. I'll keep doing it.
Same thing. I'm like a total like, and this drives Raz insane, I'm sure, because I like when I play WoW, I go at my own pace. I read the text and everything, and then if I like, I love looking around and everything. Like, I'm a total stoner gamer. You know, or I'm just like, oh, bro, I'm gonna follow this bug for a while. So I sat for hours at the workbench customizing my lightsaber, you know, and I go into what color of saber did you pick, by the way? For
I ran white most of the time.
I'm running indigo.
Nice.
Yeah, I felt like blue was too basic and cyan was too light.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
There was this glitch going around. There were some screenshots of a glitch going around where someone like glitched a Darksaber, but no one could confirm it.
I was hoping, that's like schoolyard rumor shit, you know, before the internet, you know. I was hoping that like, or maybe they'll do it in add-on. I'm sure the mod community has already had a heyday with it, but no, I was hoping like you could discover like different colors and everything throughout the game. So yeah, but apparently not. I haven't heard anything about it. So,
wow, that was a blast, and it was for the most part open world. You know, you could go jump between planets back and forth all you want. We've been expecting a game from Ubisoft, a Star Wars game from Ubisoft for a while now, and the rumors are starting to come out that because Ubisoft has been like having to push stuff back and hasn't been churning out stuff as fast as they should, that it's actually due at the beginning of next year. It's going to be a total open world Star Wars game, a la Assassin's Creed, a la Division.
Really?
Yeah, it's
that's right, because EA lost exclusive rights
yeah.
to it. That's right, I remember.
Yeah, so the lead studio Ubisoft is putting on it, I think they're called Mighty, but it's the lead studio for Division and Division 2.
Gotcha.
So I'm excited to see that, and I didn't figure we'd see it for another couple of years, but it looks like it could be as early as early next year.
Well, geez, let's hope it's good. I mean, I haven't played many Ubisoft titles recently, but my last good experience was Black Flag, and then I played Unity, and Unity was one of the few games that I've returned in my entire gaming career because it was just so fucking broken.
I've heard good things about like Valhalla and Odyssey and stuff. It's just, I'm kind of with you. After Black Flag, I was just kind of like, this kind of feels like rinse and repeat every game.
Yeah, I mean, Black Flag was amazing regardless, but and the Assassin's Creed games I love. I just really haven't. I kind of lost interest in the franchise.
Yeah, same.
So, but you put Star Wars on it and make an Assassin's Creed Star Wars, I'm in.
Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of what
Jedi Survivor. It's kind of
Jedi Survivor is.
Survivor is like Souls Light, though. It's I've always viewed it as that, and a majority of the internet does, and I think it's actually quite up because, like, as much as it would be, like, I could crank it up to master and really make it hard if I wanted to. I do like the fact that the option is like, hey, this is Star Wars. I'm going to enjoy the story, as opposed to like everything needs to be a Souls Chad thing.
Oh yeah, I totally play that game on normal. I'm there for the story, man.
yeah. Like I'm those days are beyond me.
Speaking of stories, so. One thing we were talking about when we talked about recording this episode tonight is just we just had May the 4th not long ago, and with that and another Star Wars anniversary, we got a shit ton of new news on new movies, new TV shows, new projects, and just kind of wanted to talk about some of them.
Where do you want to start? There's a lot going on. So
yeah, so we know we're getting another season of Mandalorian. The show coming up soonest is Ahsoka, which I've been excited for forever. I mean, it's not like my favorite Star Wars character or anything, but we learned recently, which we could all kind of tell this anyways, was all these Dave Filoni projects are leading to one big Avengers type team up with one big bad,
which that bad is
played by Lars Mikkelsen, Thrawn,
the Thrawn, Goldie Thrawn. Yeah.
So I'm a huge Thrawn fan. I read the original Timothy Zahn books. I read the new Timothy Zahn books. I caught him in Bad Batch.
So that's awesome, because here's where I'm going to lose a little bit of my street cred. I have not read the Heir to the Empire trilogy yet. I want to. I've been meaning to. Reading books and finding time to do it is hard when you're producing content. So
a lot of what happens in Heir to the Empire, which the rumor right now is that Dave Filoni's movie will be called Heir to the Empire. That's a rumor.
How do you feel about that? First off, I'd
feel weirder about it if I didn't know that he has had Timothy Zahn in his ear every step of the way.
Okay, good. Because my main concern with this supposedly it's a rumor, it's not confirmed 100%, but it might be, is that I feel like, and because we all know the old adage, nobody hates Star Wars more than the fans. Mm-hmm. I honestly think it might divide. I think we might get a lot of actuallys coming in and actually that did happen in the book. Which, if you don't know that this is not going to be an exact adaptation of that book by now, then I don't know what to tell you at this point.
It almost can't be, right? So something that happens in Heir of the Empire is you have a lot of the original trilogy cast members that are the heroes of Heir of the Empire. Like you have like Lando and Han, and and then the most controversial is Mara Jade, that are all like big crucial plot points. And I don't think Dave Filoni's going to go that route, and I honestly don't think that Timothy Zahn's going to have an issue with that. I think recasting them, some of them would be weird.
Let's take a look at what Disney's doing as a whole here. First off, though, if they were to do that in any sense of this come together movie, they would have to deepfake the actors like 100%. Now, I don't think it's 100% implausible for them to do that, because I see Disney using deepfake more and more and more. The new Indiana Jones movie is going to be hella deepfaked, making Harrison Ford even less sexy by making him younger, I would argue, because I feel like he's handsome now.
Yep.
But so I'm curious, because of all the buzz of a deepfake that's happening, that we are going to see like them deep faking older actors. You know, obviously they probably should stay away from like the deceased, like Carrie Fisher and all that, because that there's some taboo. There's a lot of taboo with that, you know.
Right.
But that's kind of what I'm not ruling that out 100% personally. So
yeah, I don't know. We've seen them do it for like some pivotal moments, just for some cameos. You know, to get a Tarkin cameo, to get Leia at the end of Rogue One, to get Luke coming in to get Grogu, and then Luke again training Grogu.
And it was even better in Mandalorian 2.5, aka Boba Fett. So,
but you're right. Mark Hamill isn't dead, so there's something different about deep faking him, because you can go, hey, Mark Hamill, are you okay with this?
Look, and Mark Hamill might have disagreed with the way they portrayed Luke and everything like that, but he is still 100% just on board with his character in Star Wars in general.
He's upset about the sequel trilogy. I think he likes where it was going with Grogu, based on interviews I read, but I can almost promise you Mark Hamill probably wishes they could just make the sequel trilogy never happen.
Yeah, I mean, and they're doing it, like, and I've said this on the podcast before. Like, in fact, I put out my discontent of like, stop making bad Star Wars movies and then having to fix them, please. Yep. Just make a good. Like, I watch a lot of the Star Wars Theory guy. I like that guy a lot, and that's where I get a lot of my information regarding Star Wars. But I stand by him. Like, my opinion is the same as his. It's just make a good Star Wars movie. Like, your source material of what people want to happen is there. Like, the fans know what they want, and you should listen to them. But I feel like I'm just going to be echoing the internet at this point, that I feel like Kathleen Kennedy is a bit out of touch. You know, I feel like Filoni and Favreau should just be 100% in charge of everything without having to answer anybody. But in the end, you know, Star Wars is a business, and I imagine, based off of what I've seen of Kathleen Kennedy, she is the bean counter of the group. You know,
and I don't know. I can't be a total hater of her, because I mean, she does. I mean, you can tell by her excitement at times that like she really does like love what Filoni and Favreau and them are doing, not just because of the money it makes, but because they're telling good stories. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't want to hate her just because the internet hates her. You know what I mean?
I understand that 100%. But my whole thing is that, and I don't know what's happened. I don't know exactly how the sausage was made on this, but like the whole like decanonizing Legends, and now Filoni is just pulling everything back into canon. You know, it's like,
but for good reason,
for very good reason. Yeah. And very good reasons. I, for one, was on the side of Kenobi, of liking Kenobi. I liked Kenobi. Yeah, there were some Acme Looney Tunes bits in there that really just didn't seem plausible, but I enjoyed the direction they went. The only problem I had with it was the way Obi-Wan found out that Anakin was still alive. And I said this on a previous episode too. I want them to do the scene where he's in that cantina and he sees a holocron of Vader, and they mention Vader, and he gets his PTSD. We would have had this awesome flashback moment, and that was my biggest gripe with the Kenobi show, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I think, honestly, and that was a Legends. That's a now Legends story. I I feel like, and now I'm kind of starting to go on your side of this, Ryan, is the whole like decanonizing a lot of the legend stuff gave them a clean slate.
Yeah, and then they could pick the good stuff without being stuck trying to weasel their way in between 5 million different stories.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right about that. So I redact a few of the things I say, but it's not to like backpedal, but now that I think about it, it makes sense.
Yeah. So it's just like, it's the same thing on like the Marvel side, right? Like in order to be able to make the MCU, it had to be its own thing and couldn't be in the same canon as any of the comics, because there's so many comics with so many sprawling different storylines. Same with Star Wars. Like, yeah, they weren't called Legends, but there already were some like Legends, because there's no way they possibly could have been canon with everything else.
Yeah. So yeah, it makes sense. And it does.
But when someone tells a very good, cohesive story with a compelling character like Thrawn, and maybe Thrawn got pulled back up in other books, I'm not sure. Like, you almost have to say, all right, well, look, we're gonna say all of it's not canon anymore, but let's take all the good stuff and let's get the creator and the author of all this and bring him on and work with him to see what works and what doesn't. And from what I've heard, like, Timothy Zahn is very close to the Thrawn character still to this day.
And as well he should be.
Oh yeah, that's his baby.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I and look, love Disney or hate Disney, I don't care what side of the coin you're on this. As much as Disney is a money printing machine and they know every aspect of business, they do have one thing: is they respectfully bring in the original actors for the characters to give insight to the new roles. The guy who body doubled for Luke got consultation from Mark Hamill himself. He was on set. Voice actress of Ahsoka, her name, you have a massive crush on her.
Sorry, Ashley Eckstein.
Ashley Eckstein is on set during the Ahsoka series, and Timothy Zahn's in Dave Filoni's ear, like they keep them heavily involved. And
I still love when that Mark Hamill showed up on set for Cal Kestis, and it's like talking to him about how
that was a fun. You don't need to tell me to use them, and he's clearly not holding the Xbox controller correctly. And I'm like, oh, Mark. But I think especially after The Last Jedi, again, which you're going to have me... I unconditionally love Star Wars, by the way, guys, so me hating anything Star Wars is definitively is going to be impossible. I really liked the Last Jedi. I thought it was fun. But I do agree that, they kind of did Luke dirty, and I feel like after that and the backlash from the fandom that they're trying to be more conscientious and let these actors have a more say in what these characters are, the heart and soul of, because it's them basically, so no amount of contract in writing could take that character away from them, in my opinion. So I think a lot of the negativity or not even negativity, but just like big question mark in the room over the past few years has just been like, where is everything going with Star Wars? Like, you seem to just be telling a bunch of disjointed stories that, some of them kind of take place around the same time. Some of them were kind of decades before or after everything. And once again, now that we have a clue, it seems like everything is, there's other disjointed stories, but most things, at least in the Filoni world, are coming into shape altogether. And it really is touching at this Heir of the Empire thing, right? There's a location that comes up at the end of Bad Batch, this newest season, Mount Tannis, where Dr. Royce Hemlock, oh man, I can't think of the actor's name that voiced him, but he's in Westworld, and he's in It's Always Sunny, Jimmy something. I love him as an actor, but he is genuinely downright terrifying in the Bad Batch as this doctor, Jimmy Simpson.
Yeah, Jimmy Simpson. And like, this is the first time in a while in an animated show that they've had a villain besides maybe Thrawn that I was like, oh, this guy is like actually terrifying. Like, this man is evil. And it's kind of one of those things that what's happening. What I wish with Hamill and the Joker, like, just cast him live action and see what he does, Yeah. And
is happening in Star Wars with the voice actors. I mean, obviously, like Eckstein didn't look the part, so but what's the actor's name who voices Thrawn again? I keep forgetting his name. It's
Lars Mikkelsen.
Lars Mikkelsen looks like Thrawn. like the way they animated him in Rebels, I felt like they modeled out. He's got those high cheekbones.
Yep.
And yeah, like I'm really excited to see what he does live action or what he can do. He's the brother of somebody else that's super famous, isn't he?
Mads Mikkelsen.
Mads Mikkelsen, that's right. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I kind of went off a little bit of a
no. I totally agree
is
with you.
Flowing right now.
I'm so excited. We just saw the little cut in the Ahsoka trailer for the back of Thrawn's head, and it was like, all my hair stood up on my arms. Like this is finally it.
Let's talk Ahsoka for a second.
Yep. Yeah. So we have my other girl coming back.
Your other girl coming back, and I'm excited to see what the actress does with Sabine. Mm-hmm. I think she looks great, even with long hair. I think she looks awesome. I think it's perfect casting. Yep, I'm excited to see what she brings to the table. She has a very hard to pronounce name. Which I will look up right now. But we also have the casting of Hera. Who knows? Maybe we'll even get a Kanan flashback. We don't know.
Isn't he voiced by Freddie Prinze Jr.? I'm pretty sure.
I really wish we had Jurgen here still.
Kanan Jarrus, yeah.
Natasha Leo Bordizzo.
Kanan Jarrus is voiced by Freddie Prinze Jr. We can get Freddie Prinze to come do it.
Wait, no shit! I didn't know Kanan was voiced by Freddie Prinze Jr. Really? Yeah. Oh my god, that's so awesome. I'm gonna get like a lot of heat in the comments. You didn't fucking know that. I don't care. But no, and let's see, and I guess one thing I'm a little nervous about is are they gonna play the Vader card in every one of these movies? Are they gonna play the Vader card where he just shows up everywhere? Clearly the guy can't be everywhere at once.
I will say, in the second new canon Thrawn book, the whole book is about the Emperor sends Thrawn and Vader on a mission together,
and then Thrawn deduces his identity.
And
I've heard about that.
Thrawn makes an offhanded comment to him that shows he knows who he is, and it really
fucks with Vader's head.
Yeah, it really fucks with him because nobody knows.
Yeah, I mean, I think Grand Moff Tarkin actually deduced it too.
Yeah.
So really smart Imperials basically.
Did Tarkin? God, see, this is where Star Wars fans would be mad at me. Did Tarkin die in the original trilogy?
He did.
Was he on the Death Star?
Yeah, he was on the Death Star.
Okay.
A lot of key prominent characters on the Empire's side just died on the Death Star, on the first Death Star.
So we saw at the end of Mandalorian, was it the end of the new season Mandalorian where we saw the council of former Sith or former Empire?
Yeah.
Okay, so at the end of Mandalorian season 3, we saw the Shadow Council of Imperials, and there was Admiral Pelion, who in Heir of the Empire is one of Thrawn's like main allies, and they kind of hint at Thrawn in that Shadow Council.
Yeah.
And so like we're gonna see a lot of former Empire people that we haven't really been seeing. Like we've really only focused on Moff Gideon in Mandalorian and some of his cronies. I really liked what we were getting into in Mandalorian season 3 with what all was happening on Coruscant, with like the former Imperials and stuff, and how they were like sectioned off and made to wear these badges and stuff.
Well,
and
you know why you like that, Ryan? Because, and I hope you got the same vibes. I was getting incredible Andor vibes from that. Yeah, exactly. Because for those who don't know, who again, we haven't done a Pubcast show in a while, but Ryan and I mutually love Andor for this exact same reason.
Oh, yeah.
One of them
best
being is like
Star Wars show.
Exactly. Agreed. And at me at the comics, I'll fight you. But like you don't see a space wizard show up. You don't see any like super powerful person show up. It's all like espionage, and it's how the Empire affects the little man. And you see, like I think the best description we had is like, yeah, you blow up a planet, obviously tragic, billions of people dead. You see somebody stab somebody, that's personal. Like, and it's just it's very like personal. You can just feel the emotion more directly, you know. And so like when I was getting incredible like almost like prisoner of war camps or you know, internment camp vibes from. It was a rehabilitation clearly because Disney can't go that violent, but
you know how a lot of entertainment, whether it be like a TV show or a movie or whatever, something that like we or the people before like grew up with in their childhood, when they reboot it or they continue it like 20 years later, and you can tell that they know, like they were once going to children and now they're going to adults, and so like they do make it more mature. Like I feel like that's what I loved about Andor. Like it's like they know I love Star Wars, but they also know I'm smarter now.
And we've grown
when
up.
I first fell in love with Star Wars.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I can handle more than just some explosions and some one-liners, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I feel like Andor was designed for the mid-30s Star Wars fan, you know, or the 40s and 50s now, because what, 76 is what the year it came out. The first one came out.
That's why, and I've had multiple Andor episodes on After Hours, so I won't get into a big thing about it. But when people are like, "Oh, it was too slow, I couldn't get into it," and I'm just like,
you just want to do the Homer Simpson strangle, and you're like, "Pay attention." I have ADHD and I can pay attention. Come on.
You don't need an explosion every 5 seconds for a show to be interesting.
And can we talk about Andy Serkis's performance in that?
Oh man,
Stellan Skarsgård and Andy Serkis stole the show. Everybody, yeah, but,
and his mom's speech at the end. Like,
oh my god, it was so good.
I've never had like chills go up my spine so much than that show. Like, and there were slow parts, but it was building suspense and building story.
Everything doesn't need to start with a Star Cruiser war or you know, like it's espionage. And let's not forget Stellan Skarsgård's insane monologue. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, I've given everything, and which is one of my favorite television monologues of all time. Mm-hmm. Now up there with Peter Dinklage's "I saved you" monologue. Yeah, when he's on trial, and dude, it's. I've just always been the Star Wars fan who's like, I was actually stoked with the Disney acquisition because it means we get more Star Wars, and it comes out, it's either bad or it's good. It's more Star Wars. I just don't give a shit. So it's because I choose to enjoy my content as opposed to pick it apart until the point where I'm miserable.
Right. So we are about to wrap it up, but just to give a quick little recap of some other stuff that's coming out in the next couple of years, we do have a show that has been like very quiet about, like no one's really talking about it at all, but it's Star Wars Skeleton Crew. And it's a new live action show. It's going to have it's going to kind of be like Goonies-esque. Like it'll be like 4 kids that are like trying to escape the Empire. It takes place in like the same time as The Mandalorian. But it's got Jude Law in it, which is probably why I'm most excited about it, because he is my favorite actor.
Jude Law as a Jedi. Is what it says.
Is he a Jedi? Okay.
It just says it's just Jude Law as a Jedi. I'm on the Wikipedia page, so whether or not that's a thing or not. But if it's a very Goonies-esque story, sign me up. I'm in.
Oh yeah, for sure. We already knew. We just nerded out about it, but we have season 2 of Andor coming out next year. I mean, I just made the point of I can't wait for that. I'm so stoked for it.
I know, and even though we know the fate of Cassian Andor and how it ends for him, you know, like it's still worth the watch, because I'm usually a little weird about that stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, especially, and if you haven't seen it by yet, when in the sequel trilogy, now that I know that Han Solo gets stabbed by his whiny emo son, you know, it's like it kind of takes away a little bit for me, you know, like all his survivals, all his badass moments, But yeah. I will say, when he got stabbed and fell down that pit, like my heart fucking dropped. Mm-hmm. Like it was like my childhood died a little bit.
I left that movie angry.
Yeah. I was, man. But
So,
but Chewie got his medal.
So I don't know. Did you watch season 2 of Bad Batch?
I did.
So Bad Batch was kind of a little scattered in my mind as well. Like, they start off Bad Batch season 1 with like Order 66, and obviously like that's huge for us to get more story into Order 66. But then it just becomes like the scattered, like they're just running from the Empire, and then season
side
2,
quest.
yeah, they're doing more side quests, and then it comes back into focus again, and now we have the doctor I was talking about at Mount Tannis. We learn more about why they're after the clones, or why they're after Omega specifically. And I mean, they don't outright say it, but this delves into the Emperor's cloning aspirations, which is the same thing Mandalorian's been hitting on with like Moff Gideon, and using the doctor that was supposed to go to the Emperor for cloning operations. And this all seems like a nice, like, tissue paper wrapped way to explain fucking Snoke. like they're having to make like 10 different shows and movies to explain why the fuck there was cloning.
They're making shit. They're putting band-aids all over their shitty movies, and it's like to echo what I said. Just make a good Star Wars movie,
but they're
please.
Really pretty band-aids. They're really pretty band.
I will say this about the sequel trilogy. Yes, every time I see a lightsaber ignite, I'm just on board with anything. So I feel like something nobody talks about with the sequel trilogy is the sound mixing on it. Like, the lightsabers actually sound scary. Like, you know, like
especially like Kylo's, where it will like sound like overpowered. It's like
yeah, like I legit am like concerned for their safety when they're operating those things. Like, whenever I hear them, it's and like, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, were they perfect? Abso-fucking-lutely not. Were they shit? Abso-fucking-lutely. But I still watch them. You know, It's Star Wars.
Yeah, I've said it before. I hate Rise of Skywalker, but that scene where they're like on that last planet, and you see all the ships show up from like everyone in the galaxy. I was like, "Whoa, yeah, that's fucking awesome!" Like,
and then you like pause it, and you try and spot every ship, you know. And
like, yeah, there's cool parts. It's just as an overarching story. It was
just a jumbled, like it's like I could sit on a typewriter and write a better Star Wars script, you know. But,
yeah. So there's other projects we'll talk about in a different episode, like the Rey spin-off movie and the Taika.
I love her.
Yep, the Taika Waititi untitled movie thus far. They've still been going back and forth on a Rian Johnson trilogy, which, I mean, I say let him do it. I think he's an amazing showrunner director, and I mean, Knives Out was. Both Knives Out movies are fantastic. Can you imagine that in like a Star Wars setting? Like,
yeah. Let him do it. You know, just let him. I guess let him
have the whole trilogy. Don't split it up between people. And
yeah. You know, I felt like that was a big deal. Like, of it all. I mean, yeah. I felt like they were just trying to mirror everything. You know, from the original trilogy, even changing directors and everything. It's like, just make a Star Wars movie. Like, we don't need, and George Lucas has always said, like, oh, the movies echo each other. Each trilogy echoes each other, which was his original intention, but it does not need to be that way.
No,
like, it really
absolutely
doesn't.
not.
No, like, give us which is what Rian Johnson was trying to do in Last Jedi. Give us an interesting story with, like, yeah, let's kill off our titular bad guy that we had, what we've hyped up this entire time. And then Disney had to put their fingers like, no, we don't want to do that. Palpatine came back somehow.
Palpatine came back, and these other characters that we created, fuck them.
Fuck them, but let's bring in these other characters with no backstory that you all of a sudden have to get a beat on. You know, it's like, why did Poe need a fucking relationship? Why did he need
Tell me more about those Knights of Ren that we saw for 10 seconds.
For 10 seconds, and then they got their ass handed to them by Ben Solo. Like, it's like that you hyped up and gave us nothing. Like, stop hyping up characters and then giving us nothing.
I got those Knights of Ren Funko Pops for their 10 seconds of screen time.
Oh my god. Funko
all
Pop
right.
full. Anyway,
I'm so excited for what's coming with Star Wars. I'm excited for you to beat Survivor so we can talk about it, because I have so many questions about the end. Like I just don't know how it ties in with the rest of the Star Wars narrative whatsoever. And
I will rereading Heir to the Empire.
Yeah, and I have to catch up on comics, man. Apparently, there's some crazy stuff happening in the comics right now. We're getting
really good stuff,
like the intro to the Inquisitors and a lot more about them. Like, I don't know, I can't even pretend to be knowledgeable, and I'm so behind.
The comics are great. I feel like that the power scaling can be a little off compared to the movies, and I feel like
can't imagine why.
Like Darth Vader takes down a full-on kaiju in one of them. You know, it's like, okay. And so, like, when it comes to, like, mediums, the ones I clearly trust the most are like, okay, whatever happens to the movies, that stays canon, cemented. There's nothing we can do about that. TV shows are second. Then it goes comics. And, well, TV shows lumps in animated. Then it goes comics. And then video games are the next. Like, video games, I feel like, are the ones they could retcon the most, you know? Mm-hmm. So, based off what I heard of the Jedi Survivor ending, what I've heard of it, I have heard no spoilers, just that it feels like they left it so that they could have no consequences if they ended it that way.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. It felt like it was kind of a cop-out ending so that they would have free to, hey, if we bring Cal back or we don't bring him back at all, it's kind of a thing.
Pretty much.
It was a strategic move. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, it was good catching up. I've been dying to talk Star Wars for a minute. I mean, ever since Bad Batch ended, I've been wanting to talk about that ending ever since season of Mandalorian ended. I wanted to talk, and then I beat Jedi Survivor, and I was like, I'm just itching to talk Star Wars.
Look, we've just proved that we do not need 3 hosts to do a Pubcast episode. You know, like if anybody wants to join in, they're more than welcome to. Yeah. But like this was fantastic. You know, like,
agreed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, we will catch you next week. If you haven't, make sure you check out our Chaotic Underground content. We just released a 2-parter on Mothman with our good friend Cripsed. And in the weeks to come, we have a lot more fun topics planned out for Chaotic Underground. We'll make sure to start doing Pubcasts regularly again and talking about, nerdy news and entertainment. We'll have guests on to talk about different topics. We just getting our ducks back in a row, getting back into the driver's seat of content creation. So thanks for bearing with us, and we hope you stick around.
And like, comment, and subscribe.
Definitely helps so much. All right. Have a great night. Right. May the Force be with you.
May the Force fuck off. See you later.